Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the pre-release format in Pokemon TCG is honestly super fun. I recently went to one for Pitch Black, and yeah, it was cool. That being said, there are some minor issues with the build and battle kits. I will say I did prefer, and talking with other people, I've heard similar sentiments that the essentially two halves of the kits put together, containing essentially two, like, not two promos, but representative of two promos was a little more interesting with more things that you'd add from your packs because right now the build and battle kits feature really one type and one Pokemon being built around, which changes the dynamics. That being said, it's more similar to standard is probably a better way to get Pokemon players or people who aren't really Pokemon TCG players that much, but somewhat interested into the TCG more so, where obviously generally you're looking at one main attacker. A deck with two main attackers is honestly very rare. I can't think of too many off the top of my head. I'm thinking of like Terapagos was one which wasn't super. I mean, it was okay. It was pretty cool at one point. And there's also Dragapult Iron Thorns was a deck sometime that kind of had too many attackers. You do see true toolbox decks, and you see some decks that obviously most decks have one main attacker, but regardless, I don't have a huge issue with these kits that are legitimately pretty strong, but don't require and aren't really benefited from a lot of changes. That being said, it is something I might want to see change, but not what I'm diving into today. But tell me in the comment section if you want to see me talk about that more. But today I'm talking about more so the selection of pre-release promos and then the design of some of the kits as well. I've been playing, as I said, I played pre-release recently, and I've been playing Build and Battle on Pokemon TCG Live, and it's relatively fun, but I've definitely noticed some problems with some of the kits where they're just not, well, you'll kind of see they're kind of lacking in some different areas. As I said, I will be talking about the promos though. I have a list of, these aren't actually the list of the promos. This is just kind of similar to the promos. If everyone knows how to exactly search for the pre-release promos on Limitless, tell me in the comments as well. I know Limitless' search syntax pretty well, but I'm not sure on all the things. But let's hop right into Mega Evolution, which is actually currently the build and battle format in Live. And here we see the four pre-release promos are Meganium, which, doubles grass energy. You got this Inteleon, which knocks out the lowest HP Pokemon in play and also, does something else. And then you have Alakazam doing damage based on hand size and, drawing cards and stuff like that. And then you have Lunatone, of course, a good draw engine. Obviously, of these four, one card sticks out in Inteleon. Generally, pre-release promos are supposed to be good or somewhat interesting cards in standard. I suppose Inteleon is interesting. As I said, it knocks out the lowest HP Pokemon in play, both yours or your opponent's. It's a really weird card, and in playing with the pre-release kit, I honestly don't hate it, but generally, specifically when you're playing with these in person and getting them before the set comes out, you're looking to get players good cards. That's why you sometimes see pre-release promos that, for example, while EXs or something like that, they're pretty terrible in the pre-release format, but then they are cards that people are sometimes looking for. So if you're wondering about that's why that's going to be the case there. But Meganium here fits pretty well. The Inteleon just doesn't really fit well here, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's an okay option. Look at Mega Evolution though. I look for something a little better. You generally want four different types as well, I'd say. So we got grass. We have water with Inteleon. I said I don't think that's what it should be though. So I guess the Clawitzer is a little better than the Inteleon. It's not super good. I imagine most people don't really know what this card does. I legitimately forgot about it before I pulled it up here. Lightning, I don't think really has much here. We do have Psychic. We will be talking about that. We have Fighting. Then there's Darkness, Metal, Dragon, and Colorless are the last types. Obviously, presumably not Colorless. There is, you could throw in something colorless into another kit. I do like the Gumshoes. This is a really cool card. Oh, people have been playing it a little bit, apparently. Not that much. It is a really fun card, but when you look at synergies, I was going to say it doesn't really have any synergies. It lets you swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck, but I'll actually talk about it in just a moment regarding, I guess, the Alakazam kit. And then you look at, obviously, not Dragon there. You look at Metal, and I could see going Metal. Steelix is not super interesting. Actually, it's pretty terrible in pre-release here. And then you look at Dialga, Tinkaton, and Goldengo. They're not terrible. I mean, they're probably not better than Inteleon, and they're probably not more interesting either. So I'd probably also you're looking for types that are supported in this set. I'd probably look towards maybe Darkness. You got the Spiritomb, which has some interesting synergies, and you have a Veltal. I don't know. I mean, ultimately the Inteleon pick is okay. Then you do have Fire. Fire has some cool stuff as well. Of course, I love the Cinderace. There's some generally cool cards. You could do like Ninetales plus the what is it? Plus the Gumshoes. Ultimately, I guess Inteleon is the best fourth pick here, but it's not. I don't know. Tell me in the comment section if you have a better one for this. I guess it's the best option. And in terms of how it plays, it's interesting. You got some spread stuff with the Frost Moth, and it's a cool kit. Also, in terms of changes to these kits, I'm not really going to talk too much about trainer lineups unless it's really weird. Um, or there's something that I really think should be added, but the Italian kit certainly is fine here, including Surfing Beach from the new set. And then Meganium here I think works super well. The one thing that's a little weird is it plays a Force Vitality, which is not weird, then plays a Festival Grounds. All four kits play stadiums. This one just plays one. The rest play two, which is an important part of these kits to some extent. So having the second stadium bump is cool. Festival Grounds does essentially nothing, I think. I mean, it kind of counters the sleep in the Inteleon kit, but it's super weird. Like there's no Festival Ground stuff or Festival Lead stuff. So I think it's here to have a second stadium, and then it's not Force Vitality because I guess that would make it too strong. I'm not sure. I wouldn't definitely mind seeing a second Force of Vitality there, though. I feel like that could be cool. Outside of it, the rest of the kit is pretty cool. Definitely some decent stuff, obviously, with the Meganium, and the Executor works pretty well with it as well. Then you look at the Alakazam deck. The Alakazam deck is super weird. We got Grumpig, we have Xerneas, and we have Jinx. Jinx is I'd say kind of quote filler, but it works okay-ish in the kit. I've actually, as I said, playing Build and Battle, and I pulled Alakazam twice as my kit, and I cut all the stuff that wasn't Alakazam, essentially, and did stuff I pulled, which was, I don't know if it was the right play. It made it more interesting. Alakazam, that was a one energy attacker, Grumpig, and the other stuff is focused on a good amount of energy and like accelerating and stuff. And you have this weird top deck manipulation and bottom deck manipulation stuff going on. It's very strange. You have Cypher Maniacs code breaking. You have Deduction Kit letting you rearrange the top of your deck or put it on the bottom. Honestly, a really cool card, but it's kind of weird as well. And then you have Duskball getting Pokemon from the bottom as well. So, and Redeemable Ticket taking stuff, I guess, off the top and then putting stuff on the bottom. I mean, Redeemable Ticket is just like a weird card. Its standard's okay. It's a card I played with some, but honestly a really weird selection of stuff. So, and then I guess you have Mystery Garden. I've actually cut Mystery Garden when I played with it, and if you want to mess with the Pokemon lineup, then and not run all Psychic, you might need to cut Mystery Garden. Looking at the other Psychic stuff from this set, there's too much to look at. There's maybe the Shedinja, maybe the Kirlia, but including a non-complete evolution line feels weird, so I think I would just go then lean into this like weird top deck stuff with Gumshoes. This is a little complicated for new players, but it's not too bad there, I wouldn't say. And I mean, ultimately, Alakazam is relatively straightforward. It is very powerful, so they're kind of hurting the kit by including weaker other stuff. But I think if they just went like Alakazam plus Gumshoes, that would be fine enough there. And also Strange Timepiece. Strange Timepiece. Also, it's late when I'm recording this, so if I'm making weird mistakes like mispronouncing this, then that's why. But Strange Timepiece here is a cool card, and it could be in the kit. So I feel like any reason, actually no, sorry, it should be in the kit because it plays Grumpig and Alakazam, which both work with Strange Timepiece. So I don't know why it's not here. It feels like it would be the perfect inclusion. As I said, there are a few different ways you could go with this. You can make it weird, more weird, but it's already kind of weird. So I don't know. I'm not exactly sure the vision for this kit, but there were lots of different things they could have done that I think would have been a little better. It's not terrible, but it's, again, a bit all over the place there. Look at the Lunatone one. This one's fine. It plays a Redeemable Ticket again. I'm not super sure why. I mean, Redeemable Ticket is an okay card. In Build and Battle, it's probably not that good with relatively limited search, but it's not terrible. But, I mean, it doesn't feel like it should be here either. It just feels kind of random. Ultimately, the kit is pretty good, I guess, and I think, a Premium Power Pro could be a good inclusion, though it could be too strong. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that kit. Honestly, pretty good. And the Garganacl is cool as like the not competitive piece, but it's pretty cool there. Then we'll look at Phantasmal Flames here. We got four previous kits. Again, obviously we got Ceruledge, Zacian, Flygon, and Toxtricity. Also, by the way, um, most of these sets are not super good and not super interesting in terms of like lots of different things as well. So finding good cards to pick is a little sketchy. You look at these here, Toxtricity is definitely the best of these in standard, and then you look at Zacian, which is kind of mediocre. I'd say the Toxtricity kit's pretty solid. The way it plays is a little weird at times. You got like Grimsleys, you got the Crocodile as your main attacker, doing some kind of weird but not bad play patterns. And then you look at, so Zacian is actually quite good in a build and battle. I will say in this format, I played a good chunk of this on live. The games often feel pretty one-sided, or like there's only one or two pivotal turns. And the decks aren't super interesting. The one that embodies that most is Ceruledge, which actually, in my opinion, plays pretty terribly in build and battle, either being completely dominant or just completely, pun intended, flaming out there. And then you look at the Flygon kit, which is ultimately just not very strong, I would say in my experience. I mean, it can beat stuff at times, but it's pretty rough. So a lot of the games, it's like, depending how players set up, there isn't really too much to do in the match. So the Flygon kit, and Flygon's like a mediocre card, or it's not a very good card. It's not that interesting. Zacian, similar deal. Same thing with Ceruledge there. I'd say Ceruledge is the best of those three. Look at the other cards in the set. That being said, the things like the kits and their builds themselves are fine. But looking at other cards in the set, I'm not exactly sure we'd want to go. Genesec's okay, I guess. Oh, also Moltres is pretty terrible. It's not the promo here. Moltres being the promo. Actually, yeah, Moltres probably should have been the promo if they wanted to like have this kit the way it is. Moltres is a good card. I mean, it's not a broken card, but it's better than any of the promos outside of. Well, actually, no, it's probably better than any of the promos. Similar level to Toxtricity, a much more universal card, though I'd say less impactful, less deck build aroundy, but that probably should have been the promo. If it's not the promo, it really shouldn't be in the kit. What would you put in the kit instead? Because Moltres is pretty much just useless. Maybe Reshiram. I don't know. The options you're looking at aren't great. Maybe something colorless as well. Probably like Ambipom or something. I mean, this is just I don't know. This set's small. It's not super good, as I said, but you could include Ambipom. I wouldn't despise that with the Ceruledge kit there. You could even put in something like Bronzong. Bronzong is technically colorless. Actually, no, that doesn't work very well. Wait, there's a tool thing here. There's like barely any tools. Okay, anyways. So the Darkness kit's fine. I talked about the Fire one. Looking at the Fighting one, I mean, it plays okay. I'm trying to think of like what would be better to include in the kits. There's technically a Confusion deck with Bramblegast and also Mismagius EX. Obviously, the EX isn't going to be in the kit, and Bramblegast being the Prerelease promo feels pretty bad. But I mean, I don't know. And then obviously that would kind of like replace the Psychic kit. Maybe Bramblegast could have been the promo going into the Psychic kit, and you cut like some other stuff, one of the lines. I don't know. I mean, I don't love that. I don't love any of those options. Look at the other stuff. I guess technically Palmot's been played. I don't really play Slowking, so I haven't played it. It's not like that good, but it's all right. Tell me in the comment section if you play Slowking how good Palmot is, but ultimately it's kind of whatever here. Yeah, and again, some other stuff. Most of these just aren't super interesting, unfortunately. The EX are the most interesting things, and they're not even that interesting, and obviously they're not going to be there. I will say Psychic does have Wonders Patch. Psychic like needs to be one of the types. The promo option isn't amazing there, though. Corsilia could be interesting-ish as an option within the deck, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Flygon's gimmick, a milling. By the way, I played Phantasmal Flames in person, and I got the Flygon kit, I believe, and the milling didn't matter. Also, I think I took a bunch of mulligans as well. I tend to just for some reason take a lot of mulligans at pre-releases, not all the time, but I took 7 against Uncommon Fossil when we went the other day, which was unfortunate in Pitch Black. But regardless, Flygon super mediocre. You're looking again at the other stuff. Maybe Archaludon. I don't hate this card. And I'm not really sure. Honestly, the set is just kind of bad, unfortunately. Looking at cards you're trying to highlight, or the types looking to highlight, I guess it's Fire, Psychic, and Darkness, and then Fighting as the 4th type is okay. But again, the Pokemon just aren't. Honestly, the set kind of is pretty lacking, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind a Battle Cage in one of these kits. And then you're looking for something that Battle Cage actually counters, which is, does Battle Cage counter literally anything in the set? Surely it counters something, right? Um, I'm not sure. I don't know. Also, maybe Dawn in some of these kits. Dawn is a 2 of in the Flygon kit. Maybe Dawn in the Toxtricity kit could be cool. Because that's a card people are looking to get from this set. Ultimately, though, they did what they could, I suppose, but it's not a. It's kind of weird. I definitely want to see some change with the Sterilage deck there. That would have been nice. Looking at the Perfect Order kits here, we got 4. We have some issues with these as well, unfortunately, which I would say is an actual issue. If you played this format, there's Tyrantrum, and it plays 3 basic Pokemon, which is like not a lot. So people mulliganed a lot when I did this. I think there was it 3 or 4 rounds? I'm not sure how many rounds there were when I played. I'm pretty sure it wasn't more than 4, but I know at least 2 of the rounds we had to call a judge to shuffle because there were just way too many mulligans. So yeah, that's not so good. Every round it was like super long to start because of the mulligan stuff. In fact, we might have like lost a round because of the mulligans. So that's bad, right? And also there's 2 fighting kits. So if we look at this Perfect Orders, and it's not a great set, but it's an okay set. You look at the types that are kind of being highlighted in this set. You can actually glance at it with these special energies there. And like the interesting Pokemon, we have the 4 promos of Tyrantrum, which is a fine card, I guess, but then Barbaracle. Looking at those 2, which one's more deserving of a Prerelease promo? Definitely Barbaracle. If they really wanted to include the Tyrantrum, they could have done Tyrantrum and Barbaracle. Like, that could have been a thing they could have done. It would have been not amazing, but it would have been like, okay. I mean, literally both of them play Hawlucha, which is an important part of both the kits. I mean, it's not a hugely important part of the Barbaracle kit because it's a 1-of, but there are different things they could have done with fighting, but I mean, you need more basics in the kits, right? So I think Barbaracle being the promo and Tyrantrum not being honestly in the pre-release at all probably would have been the best case scenario there. And that is, like, I guess, one of the better Pokemon in this set, so definitely deserving of a pre-release promo. Then you look around at other stuff, and we see telepathic psychic energy, and the psychic stuff isn't super good. We got like Aromatisse and Mawile, so maybe something there. Maybe Aromatisse being the pre-release promo. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not very good. It is pretty bad, but it searches for psychic energy. Was, I guess, meant to pair with the Mega Clefable. Yes, honestly, kind of forgot about that deck, but that was one of the bigger decks in the set. And telepathic psychic energy, definitely a cool card. So I think that would have made sense as a kit. Doublade is fine. Doublade is honestly one of the cooler decks from the set, and arguably a still underrated deck in Standard. I haven't really played with it, but I'm pretty sure it's a similar level to like Team Rocket's Honchkrow, because it does pretty similar stuff, to be honest. I mean, I don't think it's a crazy good deck, but it's got to be like, sure, there's got to be a top 10 single prize deck, right? So that makes sense, I guess. The way it plays is a little weird. We got some really interesting interactions with like Klefki and stuff. And it certainly is fine, I would say. And even Judge interacting with it is kind of cool. And then we also see, oh, also, yeah, this is like the fighting set with Mega Zygarde. I forgot about that. So you definitely need fighting. I don't think you need 2. The grass stuff is fine with Superior. I don't think Superior was actually very interesting in pre-release, because the second attack only interacts with Rose Encouragement. Rose Encouragement is honestly just like not a very good card. It's not terrible and sees some play in Dragapult because Dragapult's really good, right? But Rose Encouragement also build in battle, like super hard to play. I think how many copies were in the kit? Was it a 1-of? Yeah, it was a 1-of. People essentially never played it. You'd sometimes see someone like Ultra Ball it away, but that enabled more damage. The damage numbers are kind of weird. Either it's this crazy one-shot or just coming up short. Regal Command is fine and creates some interesting-ish gameplay. I mean, I definitely don't despise this card in Build and Battle, but it's not that interesting. The thing that it has going for it is it references another card being a, quote, gimmicky card in that regard, which is one of the more interesting cards from the set. You pair it with like the Shaman. There's the Pavilion as well, making an archetype with the Decidueye EX. I wouldn't actually mind Pavilion being the pre-release promo there. I'm sure some people would, especially with the Aegislash. You're gonna get some really wacky stuff there. Pavillion's actually like not a very good card either. It's not horrendous, but it's not great. You could have even included Force of Vitality there. I'm pretty sure that's not in the kit, right? Oh, it is in the kit. Okay, I forgot it was. Yeah, so that's good there. You could have gone Villain Superior. I don't know. I think what they did with the kit's okay, but they could have changed a little with the Villain, incorporating a better archetype and Decidueye EX there. And then what's the fourth deck? There is, wait, fighting. So that was 4 decks, but I do think Dugong also makes a lot of sense here. So it's obviously like during a turn, you can move a basic water from, or a water energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active. Relatively interesting Pokemon, honestly, from the set. Hasn't seen much play, apparently, like at all, but, kind of intended to be the partner for Mega Starmie EX here. You pair this with Volcanion. It's not the most interesting thing, I guess. But you got like some fun big coin flip stuff, which can legitimately be, again, very fun there, especially for just like this casual environment. It's really cool there. I guess the support isn't quite there. So of those five, I would say definitely Barbarical at the top, and then honestly a four-way split between the Dugong kit, the Grass kit in either Superior or Villain, the Psychic kit with, I guess, Aromatisse, which actually probably that's the one I'd cut because it's the least interesting, but I do think Telepathic Psychic Energy is probably the coolest card in the set, so I would want to include that in a kit if I could, and then also with the last kit in the Dewblade kit. If I had to make a decision, I suppose I'd say no Psychic, but again, I could go anyway. I definitely think the Tyrantrum kit was a bit of a mistake, though, especially having 2 fighting kits and having so much like weird weakness stuff going on, which isn't super, not fun weakness stuff, but annoying weakness stuff. Then we have Chaos Rising here. Chaos Rising is the newest set that's currently out in Standard. Pitch Black isn't, fully out, obviously. That's why we're talking about pre-releases now, which again are fun. I am kind of like complaining about stuff, but they are legitimately very fun. We have Delphox, which, by the way, Delphox just like, I don't know. I want to say it's really overrated. I mean, it's definitely not that good. And people like are like, oh, it does so much damage and it's like free or something. I don't know. People like keep saying it does all this damage and it's like free to set up, and like all these other cards are like free to set up, but Delphox is mediocre. Certainly for this format, it's like fine. Also, they are all stage 2s. I don't love that. I guess it's not necessarily bad, and it makes the gameplay experience more consistent. The Ampharos deck is definitely much weaker. Ampharos is cool. If it had Relicanth allowing for some interesting like item lock, or theoretically interesting item lock stuff, that could have been cool, I guess. Item lock in a format like this isn't super good though. The having to match hand sizes is cool. Also, what exactly does Ampharos do? Is it you can't attack next turn? No, you can't use Flashing Bolt. So, by the way, if you don't know how this card works, you do 140, but then if you match hand sizes, you do 80 more. This is interesting. I love hand size stuff. But then you can't attack with Flashing Bolt next turn. The stage 1, though, does 40 in item lock. Then it would be doing 120 if you match hand sizes there, and has some interesting synergy with Relicanth. So that would have been pretty cool to see in the kit. The overall is certainly fine in the kit, though. I think you have Crobat, which is just stage 2, a weaker but cheaper stage 2, and then Goodra. Also, I played a bunch of this format. I think it was the first build and battle format in live, and I got Crobat like every time, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, the Goodra is fine as well. It has an ability which is somewhat interesting, like stopping or retreating. I came up once in build and battle. Again, I play this format a lot, so it's essentially irrelevant there. There's multiple types, which is cool, and the Meowstic feels completely fine there. The Esper with the Elma is kind of cool. It's a little high rolly and could be unfun in some situations, though. Then we got the Ninetales, which I got wrong in the video, and then no one realized, and I didn't realize for like months until I got like knocked out by it. Maybe not months, but like at least probably a month. So we got those going on. I think honestly the kits play pretty fun, and the Ampharos one is kind of weak though. In terms of how good are Delphox, Ampharos, Crobat, and Goodra in Standard, they're kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. Looking at the set though, again, it's not a super powerful set. Avalugg could have been funny, but it's not that good or interesting there, to be honest. As someone played it in Japan to some success, a tiny bit there. I guess Crobat's an okay card. I suppose Patrat's also a decent card for Standard. It's not a card I personally played with, and it's not seen much play, but it is a card that it was like one of the better cards to get from the set. So, I mean, that with like Watchog and one of the kits maybe could have been okay, but it's kind of annoying, to be honest, so I'm not complaining about it not being there. Metagross also could have been in the set. Now that I think about it, Metagross probably should have been one of the promos. That being said, it plays pretty badly theoretically with like the stage 1 Matang that's not from the set, from Temporal Forces, would make it. I mean, you might make it too good there. Then I don't know. The deck would play pretty weirdly. Also, pre-release kits can include Pokemon from older sets, but Pokemon doesn't really like do that anymore. So I haven't talked about it yet, but they could. If you don't have that Matang, it becomes pretty terrible. If you do, it becomes probably too good. So Metagross feels a little awkward as a pre-release promo, but also it is like it's the best single prizer from the set, right? I mean, you also got Patrap, but Metagross has seen play within Slowking, also within its like own deck. I haven't played that deck. Tell me if I should play it. I probably should, honestly, but it's an interesting card, and creates some interesting decisions in build battle as well. So that could have made sense there. Looking at the psychic stuff, there's the bunch of Deoxys, which people pulled some unsurprisingly, then played some. Specifically looking at the Gudra kit, but that's kind of cool there. And yeah, I don't have too much to say about the set. I suppose maybe some more water focus with Mega Greninja being like the poster child of the set, or psychic stuff as well. But I'm not really gonna complain too much. Maybe Trevenant, but Trevenant just doesn't work super well. That does more damage for each damage count on all your opponent's Pokemon. And then, oh wait, sorry, the Phantom. That's the card. This one like evolves quickly, kind of, and then damage itself. You got this like self-damage archetype, but you don't like have that archetype in build and battle unless you pull Gorgeist DX. So again, you have these archetypes built around EXs, which again we like see with like Barbarical, and you see them try to do with pre-release kits, but in general, it's I don't know. It just kind of it's a little clunky to find a perfect solution with a bit of a smaller set here. I will say I do love Grimsley's move in this. I had one of the kits, the Darkest kit, to play Crocodile EX, which you normally can't play at all. Like you literally can't play Mega Lady EX in the set. It's not possible. But ultimately, I think the kits they chose were fine. Again, wouldn't mind seeing Metagross there just because it is pretty good. I say it's probably overperformed a little, so it wasn't some crazy card that people were like, I need this card from the set. A special red card being the kits might have been good because it is a better card from the set. Same for the Prism Tower. I don't think that was in any of the kits. Doesn't really have synergy with much. Technically, actually, no, that's not true. It has synergy with both Gudra, or sorry, no, both well, actually, all the kits except for Gudra. With Delphox, it lets you decrease your hand size to theoretically draw more with the ability. With Crobat, it allows you to get the top card of your deck, which you put on top there, and then Ampharos allows you to decrease your hand size to match with your opponent as well. So honestly, Prism Tower probably should have been in at least one of the kits, because it's a good card, and not a problematic card either, I wouldn't say. Overall, though, solid set of decks. I think Ampharos is kind of bad, though, so maybe replacing Metagross with Ampharos could be good, or just adding Relicanth. That would have been pretty cool. Then we have the next kit, the current one, or like, I don't know if current, I don't know if they're currently going on at the time of releasing this, maybe a little bit, but Pitch Black here, and we see Bastiodon, Delmise, Slowbro, and Miraidon. And honestly, I think these are kind of cool. I pulled the Bastiodon deck. I'm not gonna lie, to me it felt really bad. I played 3 games, but like it was, I don't know, I like never drew supporters. The deck doesn't run that many either. Maybe it does, but in terms of like setup supporters, I don't know. Maybe I got unlucky. Maybe I misplayed. I mean, I played okay. I know, but it ended up being, honestly, pretty much I was just waiting to set up with the Bastiodon. Once I set up Bastiodon, I was fine. But depending a little bit on what my opponent was playing, it walls Pokemon with energies there. Then there's the Miraidon. There's Slowbro, as I said, and there's Delmise. Delmise is pretty clearly the one that kind of has to be here, I think. Hide and Sneak's definitely the most anticipated deck from the set. It's the best deck from the set as well. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. Like, I think it's definitely the best deck from the set. I suppose the other one is Mega Excadrill. So you might want to have some metal representation there. I don't think Mega Excadrill is really interesting. Card you're pairing it with is actually Metang there. It isn't in the set, so I don't think you need that here. And when we look at Pitch Black, or I'll look at Abyssai, it's pretty much the same thing. Then you look at metal, and I don't know, there's not really too much to look at there. And then you are doing the fossil stuff. The fossil stuff is important. With this deck, the Skarmory is your only basic in the Bastiodon kit, and you mulligan a bunch. So that's not so good. I mean, it depends exactly how things go, obviously. It does have 4 basics as opposed to 3, but I think the basic that, should have been here is probably the Relicanth. And to be honest, I think the Relicanth should have been the pre-release promo, doing what it does is 10, 30 more for each of your bench Pokemon with that are fossils there. So then you play, it allows you to play the other fossils, which is kind of cool, and it's like a decent card. I think this is a 2 of, maybe you could even have it as a 4 of. It might be too strong. I don't know, but I didn't pull Relicanth when I played it. If I had, maybe it would have been really good. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I think Relicanth is the promo. Maybe with some Skarmory still could be okay, but Skarmory discards metal energies, and then The deck doesn't like run an absolute insane amount. It doesn't run recovery. Well, it runs fully, but it doesn't run like energy retrieval to get him back to do more damage. It plays super clunkily, so not amazing there. Not terrible though. I certainly don't despise it as the option. Looking at the other ones that were chosen, again, hide and seek really has to be there. I actually probably would have preferred. Now, I guess Dhelmise should be the Prerelease promo. It's definitely the best of the cards in the deck. The other option would have been because it only plays one Dhelmise, because Dhelmise is just kind of crazy in build and battle, to be honest. Kind of broken if you get it set up. And the kit plays ways to discard as well. So ultimately with oh, by the way, Prism Tower is in the Dhelmise, or sorry, it's in the Slowbro one, not the Dhelmise one. For balancing reasons, I guess it obviously you want to play Prism Tower when you play hide and seek in standard there, but it is interesting. It's in the Slowbro deck, which is the no cards in hand deck, where it's fine, I suppose, but it's a little weird. Also, it is a bit a bit difficult for new players. I played against someone who was new playing the kit. They had some trouble there. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't hate it. I mean, I like it actually. It's super fun. I think I didn't pull it, but I'm very excited to play it. But I think I'm happy that archetypes are presented here. Also, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but yeah, for the Bastiodon one, or sorry, for the Dhelmise one, they could have made it Sinistra. That one has some power balancing issues there, though. Then you look at the also maybe Spiritomb shouldn't have been it. I feel like it's like kind of bad to have it there because I don't know. I didn't see anyone attack with it while I was playing. I only played against it once though, so who knows if people did. If you played, tell me how that went. If you saw Spiritomb used, but it seems pretty sketchy. It's not a very good card to be honest. The other archetypes here, there is a retreat cost archetype with Psychic, but if anything, a Marshadow is like a one of in the kit that was one of the Psychic kits could have been fine. Also, 2 Psychic kits is that good. What are the other options here? So technically, you could have made Hide and Sneak with the Sinistra, then made it quote a Grass kit with a Grass promo. Still just playing Psychic energies there. Also, Telepathic Psychic just seems both good and not necessary for the kit. I mean, it's a good card. I guess I'm not going to complain that they're giving it out, but I don't know. Feels kind of weird there. Not bad though. Then you look at nothing for fire there, nothing for water outside of I guess Relicanth. There's nothing that interesting for water that I could quite get behind because the set is better than the other one. Something like Primarina could have been an option within another kit or another set, but here it's outclassed. Looking at the types, though, that are focused on, you see the special energies of lightning and darkness, you see the fossil stuff, you see the discard stuff, you see the no cards in hand stuff, you also do see Toucannon. Toucannon as a pre-release promo might have made sense. I don't know where you'd put it. Maybe you could do Toucannon with lightning, to be honest. Toucannon is not super interesting. I think it was a card that was a little underestimated by the Pokemon team developing it. I mean, it's not an amazing card by any means, but it's an okay card. Probably one of the better single prizes in the set. Just, draws a card, does some damage there for cheap. So pairing that with Lightning could have been fine. I don't have an issue with the Vikavolt and the Miraidon, though they have some weird anti-synergy where the Miraidon wants basics, the Vikavolt wants special energies, but that's fine, I suppose. The special energy is pretty cool, or relatively cool. It's pretty good, to be honest, but Lightning's not so good. Ultimately, Miraidon, though, and Vikavolt, neither of them are particularly good. The thing that I said about Superior being a solid option, referencing a specific card, also applies to Vikavolt here. But again, the bar is a bit higher for this set. Also, the card is not here. That's unfortunate. But I don't hate it, but I wouldn't have minded seeing Toucannon as the lightning synergy, as the lightning, or in part of the lightning kit. I don't think it would have fit very well into any of the other ones, so that's probably fine. You could put it with the fossils, but that feels pretty rough with double stage 2s probably. You could just focus on Relicanth as well with like the fossils without the evolution, but that feels really wacky. And the other fossil evolution's an EX, which you're not going to chuck in there. So I think the Toucannon with lightning could be cool. Obviously, it's a little wacky with the special energy like not doing anything. And then the no cards in hand stuff is fine. Again, you have double psychic. You could have swapped it for the what is it? You could swap it with the Thievul. This card's kind of cool. Again, you're still probably using Psychic Energy, but you could have done that if you wanted. I wouldn't have minded seeing that in the kits. I mean, you look at it, it's a 4/4 line of the Slowbro, so Thievul could have been cool, I think. In terms of the interactions with the other stuff, it's honestly really weird, I'm not going to lie, so I'm not sure. Also, the energy counts here are pretty weird. You got like a bunch of ignition, but I mean, you're playing ignition. Surely it should play the Thievel as well, and maybe four ignition then at that point. And then maybe cutting the telepathic, making it less of a psychic hit. I don't know. It's kind of weird with two psychic hits, but I do think they both make sense here. And then Rhydon feels like the weirdest maybe. And then I feel like there should be a darkness kit as well. With I don't know. I mean, like you could do hiding darkness with the Zarude there, and hiding darkness stops bench damage, which would even stop the Vikul if that's there, and the other Zarude as well. And then you got like Mandibuzz for some special energy targeting stuff. You have the Malamar for confusion stuff, and then of course you have the Chi-Yu, which is probably the best card, or one of the best card of the type, which could be the promo there. So I think Chi-Yu being a promo makes sense. They're rating the cards on how much they should be promos. I'd probably be looking at you have Chi-Yu, you have because you're looking at Pokemon here from the no cards in hand deck. Honestly, I think none of them are super good. So I say Chi-Yu, Toucannon, Delmise, where's Delmise? And then maybe, which is the last one, and then Relicanth, maybe. Then you're kind of looking at like, what am I gonna do with no cards in hand? Is that getting cut? Maybe it's a little complicated. It is fun, but I wouldn't mind the kits looking like that. I mean, the set is pretty good, and I think Relicanth has potential to see play. Maybe you could not do fossils as well, to be honest. Maybe just don't do fossils for pre-release. That could be good. So I think there's a few different options there overall in terms of designs of the kits. Oh wait, one of these has Azu's Tranquility as well. That card is kind of terrible here. It's in which of the kits is it in? Or is this the wrong set? That'd be kind of awkward if I got the wrong set. And like miss it. No, it's in the Slowbro deck. Yeah, I mean it's technically there because you can search it with the Silvally, so it's a searchable switch, and it is a newer card to get people there. But like, come on, it's kind of stupid, right? So it should probably just be a regular switch, to be honest. Would be better, I imagine. Ultimately, though, I think the kits are all relatively solid for Pitch Black. But tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are. Obviously, I like really dived into this a good amount. Again, sorry, I'm recording when it's pretty late, so sorry if I was a little all over the place. But tell me what you're looking forward to. I guess for the next, as well as getting leaks for Stormeralda / Delta Rain there. I don't think they're confirmed at this point. Or I don't think we know any of them. Obviously, we don't know all the cards in the set, so it's like definitely not confirmed. But the promos are probably going to be. I'm trying to think of the cards that have been revealed so far. I don't know, Cacturn? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that set at all. I'm thinking mostly they're like multi-prisers, and honestly not that good either. So I feel like there should be something representing Mega Rayquaza, but we'll see. But anyways, tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are on pre-release. Honestly, I think it's a really fun format, but yeah, tell me in the comment section as well, and tell me, am I like overthinking this? I like thinking about stuff that honestly, let's be honest, doesn't matter too much, but it's still fun to talk about. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Huge shout out to my YouTube members as well for supporting the channel, because you don't have to support me in this way, but it is still really appreciated. But I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.